Anyway, thank you very much. Good presentation. If they'd have grown up like I did with 18 brothers and sisters, they wouldn't have to go to China to find out what the different cultures were. And the Chinese zodiac wouldn't be true either, because me and my wife have been married 43.5 years, and we ain't supposed to be together according to that. So there's a lot of differences. Got some issues on the STEM school. I'm not against it, period. I am against building it on this and the political arena and the way you talk about it, it sounds like it's the most and the biggest and the best thing you ever done to build on this site. I don't think you have a level of knowledge and understanding of the site as well as you think. What you've been told is one thing, what's coming down the pipeline is a whole lot different. You can talk about 175 Bingham Road, but you better understand your neighbors. You better understand the differences of what is on the hill above you. We've already been through this. Superfund site, they say 10 acres, okay? They pull it down to 10 acres. We've got one in Swan North the same way. They don't talk about doing anything outside of a quarter-mile perimeter in Wales. You never hear that. But how many different people are getting contaminated wells everywhere? And when they trace that source back, it's not always next door. It's a long ways off. So keep in mind that. The other issue is on dropout, graduation initiative, safe schools. And I think safe schools is a good thing. I saw Mr. Odell on TV 13. He looked great. The subject I didn't think that we got deep enough. They're talking about short-term suspension, long-term suspension, those kind of things that affects the kids that I've done help for their advocacy for 25 years, and that's special needs children. We don't see enough of them here at the Board of Education. We don't see them praised. We don't see them given awards. We don't see them in the school hallways. We don't see them in the classroom as much as we should. It's beginning to see some, but nothing to what it ought to be. Now, we're going to travel the world. We need to talk about how we travel in our schools. If you want to talk about safe schools, I'd love to talk to your committee, because I haven't even been heard about them. I'd love to talk to them. I've got some great suggestions about safety, and I think I can share some that maybe raise a hair on your head. Resource officers is going to be a big topic in the future. I've got some statistics on that, as well as some stuff that I can help you with on the safety issues there.
Thank you, Mr. Rice.
Yeah, I'll be back next week. 3 months. You say? I'm sorry. I'll be back next month.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Very good.
That's pretty good. I would like for you to raise that to 5, would you?
Thank you for letting me talk. I just want to say I'm an ex-educator, and my life was threatened at a school in Virginia, and my algebra student got carried out of the room in handcuffs by the police. He was back Monday morning. So good luck on the school safety issues. It's not easy to teach under those situations. And I quit, and I think I was a pretty good teacher, but it's not worth my life. So good luck with that. I would recommend having something at the front door, somebody there who's at the front door with something under the desk, some kind of weapon or something, because that's where you come into the schools. And it seems to make sense to me as a taxpayer to have somebody who can also do something else besides stand around. So I think if you had somebody who was working the front desk and also could shoot a gun, that would satisfy that requirement. As a taxpayer, I'm interested in seeing the schools do everything they want to do and have the best education, but I don't think there's only one way to do things. And I think that we're very lucky to have forward-thinking people on the school board who think out of the box and who are willing to look around at different ways to do things. And I very much appreciate your trying to find other locations for the STEM school. I hope you will do that. I hope you will continue to do studies and find out the best places to have schools. Perhaps the best way is to look at redistricting and rearranging the districts. As I understand it, there are 5,000 empty desks in Buncombe County. There's got to be a way to use those buildings instead of building things new and redoing things on chemical waste sites. It seems to me, with 5,000 empty desks in this county, we should be using those instead of creating other things. And maybe they're in the wrong school district. Maybe we need to redistrict. And I think this board has the ability to do that, to think out of the box and be creative and try to save us taxpayers money, which means putting that money into your pocket. As I'd rather have new teachers, more classroom supplies than new buildings. New buildings aren't going to do anything if you don't have good teachers and if you don't have enough of them. So I'm delighted that the state legislature last year increased money for education because of the decreases that came down from Washington. Or earlier, several years earlier, they had budgeted teachers' pay and a lot of permanent positions with temporary money
Thank
from
you, Ms. Jones.
Washington. Thank you.
Thank you.
This doesn't have anything to do with what I want to talk about, but one of the problems that you have in Buncombe County is the sales tax is set aside to build buildings, and you can't touch it for teacher salary. That's going to have to be addressed by this board and the legislatures in Raleigh to solve that problem. You got money, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be spent. I've heard STEM school, and I've heard comprehensive. Education should be comprehensive. It shouldn't be only at STEM school. I knew once the plan was brought out and all the money had been spent up front that this was going to be built right here. I don't care what anybody says. I'm sorry, folks, it's very obvious. And I'm going to tell you something. Wanda Green one time, I told her on figures about recycling and how much money it was saving. And she told me, she said, well, figures can lie. Well, Jerry Rice, I don't know where he's at, almost got thrown out of the county commission meeting for saying, well, figures don't lie, but liars figure. This has to do with lab tests, folks. You're looking at somebody that spent 20 years in school. You're looking at somebody at Clemson University was doing water hardness testing with a $90,000 piece of equipment and discovered by using standard methods, which is the national method on how to analyze water hardness, that 3 parts per million of phosphate in the water gave us an error of 300 to 400% in the reading. So when somebody says scientifically I've proven something, folks, it's not concrete. Science is changing. Lab tests depend upon standards, quality control, and you have to have repeatable results. So please be careful with the numbers that you read. Now, stem cell. The STEM high school should have been done always and all the time. How many times do we reteach the same thing over and over? But if we link physics to building a house, if we link physics to changing gear ratios in the car and making it more high performance, we are giving the kids a reason to learn something. Folks, I didn't learn that this area was clear cut. How many of you know that everything in western North Carolina was clear cut from 1885 up to 1920? That's right. The Blue Ridge Parkway was clear cut. I can remember driving up there and seeing out. I didn't learn that getting a master's degree in biology. I didn't learn that getting a bachelor's degree in biology. I learned that through work experience. So what I'm going to ask you to do, please, take what you learned at this STEM school and introduce it into the other schools. Make it an experiment.
Thank you.
make it an experiment. And also, on the way sitting down, I'll say this, do video coverage of your world travel.
You had your 3 minutes, now
Do
sit
video
down.
coverage of the world travel so it'll be
Hey,
available.
Don, sit down.
What's wrong with
You
that
had your
suggestion?
3 minutes. I'm being,
What's
be
wrong with that
respectful
suggestion?
of me, and I'll be respectful of you, okay?
No, you're not respectful of anybody out here.
Ms. Lund? All right. All right, moving on to reports. We have a technology report.
We would invite you all to come down and sit in the front row so we can.
We have to take a 5-minute break.
I believe it's all right.
Well, that's all we can do. Yeah, 2 great kids. They kind of made my night. Yeah, I can see that.
Anytime.